another cultural experience. I thought this was very important to discuss, primarily because there are Americans and African American women who will marry a demand like I have, and there are some cultural things that where you have clashes, um, particularly with your children, because you just don't do it that way. So today, my husband Isaac told Gia that he's been wanting to talk to her for a long time. And what did he tell you, Gia?
It said normally you're supposed to like call somebody star or bra or auntie or uncle, and that he wanted me to give in my name or something like that.
Well, he felt like all this time Gia has been, I wouldn't say disrespectful, but basically she's always just referred to him as Isaac. She's never given him any specific title. And so he kind of brought that up as an issue. Now, we're 2 months shy of being married 2 years. So it immediately irritated me because I felt like this was one of those, rules.
Finding something.
Yeah, well, to me, it came off as petty because this was rules of engagement that should have happened a long time ago. Okay, when she came the first time, he should have sat her down and said, "Hey, this is what we do." And then culturally, I hold the phone. Culturally, it doesn't work with us because we don't call anybody auntie or uncle that's not in the blood.
Yeah.
So my mother's sisters and brothers would be called aunt and uncles. My father's sisters and brothers would be called aunt and uncle. All this sort of like, just because you're an adult, you become auntie or uncle, that's a no-go. She has a father, her paternal father, who she knows, and she refers to him by his first name because he's had no time with her. He was not ready to be a father. He loves her, but he's not an adult in that way. Okay, and then she had her stepfather, who raised her, who she's extremely close with, that she refers to as
Dad.
And she can't imagine calling anybody other than him dad because he was taking her to preschool. He was the person that taught her to ride a bike. He what did he do? He cooked for her. They argued together. They shared popcorn. He is essentially her dad, and he's very much still involved in her life. So this issue with titles is very complex for us as blacks. Because again, you don't get to be called auntie and uncle unless you're an aunt and uncle. Mm-hmm. We don't use sir or
Mrs. unless you're like our neighbor or something like that.
Yeah, or you already have the title like in a role. So I already met you as Miss Johnson, my first grade teacher, or Miss Ann, the Bible study teacher, or whatever. You already have been identified that. But lots of youth in America do refer to adults by their first name, and they're not being disrespectful, and it's not deemed disrespectful. It's good to be appropriate and put, ma'am and sir on it. Southerners do that. We're Northerners, so you really don't hear a lot of that in the North. And then some of it's generational. My generation still works very hard with Mrs. and Mrs. Her generation is far more relaxed. How did you feel about him talking to you about that?
To me, I just feel like, what do you want me to call you? Mm-hmm. I don't have a name for you. Because the two that I have names for, I've already taken both of the names that I specifically want to give them.
Yeah.
So what name do you want me to give?
And then I think it's something to earn in these titles. Like, I told Gia Boo, I am some people refer to me as mom because I'm a godmother, and they've asked me, I would love for you to be the godmother of my child. Some of them as mentees have gone so long with me that they don't want to call me Mrs. Evans-Brewer or Mrs. Brewer, so they just call me mom because I've been in their life that long. I mean, some of them is 15, 20, 30 years of mentoring, so I've earned that title. But there is something to sort of like, in Ghana, you kind of get these titles just on general principle, on GP, and I'm very uncomfortable with that. I don't necessarily like that. And I did ask him, what do you want her to call you? And he was just kind of that.
Sometimes it gets a little bit irritating too.
To have to call somebody auntie and uncle?
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm insulting my real auntie and uncle, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm betraying them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like I want to call you that. But if you're gonna sit here and call me insulting you or something, then I
Yeah.
have no choice.
Yeah, I just think some of these things need to be explained early on. I'm hoping this will help some people out there at least have a discussion. I by no means have an answer for you because I want Gia to live an authentic life, a truthful life where she's comfortable. Um, Even some of the people that he's introduced to me, this is Auntie such and so, and I'm like, I don't even like this person. Like, you've given this great title to them, and all that you said they were, they actually turned not out to be much of that. So but the auntie and uncle feels affectionate to me. It feels close. It feels like we have a greater love for each other than just Mr. and Mrs. And so I guess that's what I have to say about that. In the end, I did give Gia instructions. And what did I tell you to call him at this point?
Mr. Isaac.
Mr. Isaac. That's the best that I could come up with. She can't call him daddy because she, in her heart, she just feels like that would be betraying her dad in the U.S., who is an amazing dad to her on a lot of levels. She can't call him father. He's not her paternal bloodline. I don't know what you call a stepfather here. No one has explained it to me, and they most certainly haven't explained that to her.
No, but we had one talk with me, myself. I had a talk where Auntie Howard had, she said that, why don't you ever call Isaac dad? And I told her, well, I don't call him that because I already have two people who I call father and dad. So I feel like, no.
Just you got challenged on that with Eric too last year.
Where
he really got like kind of confrontational with Gia to the point like she came in the house and sat down because he was like, no, you call him dad. And it's like some of this stuff is spiritual. You either feel these things for people or you don't, or when you don't feel it, they play such a major role that they function in your mind ideally as a dad. So there's some work to be done, in my opinion, on both ends. But I wanted to share this conversation because I'm not the only person that's going to run into this problem with these titles and seem like your child is being disrespectful when in fact
you're not.
They're not. So, all right, YouTube. Anything you want to say before you sign off, Gia Boo?
Yeah. If you're a kid like me, and let's say your mother or your father married a Ghanaian or something like that in Africa, and they always have this rule where you must call them uncle, mother, this, that. I would just say, just go along with it unless you feel like you're betraying them.
Mm-hmm. You're betraying your
natural
family.
Yeah. What?
That's some good advice.
Yeah.
You're saying when in Ghana do as the Ghanaians do?
Mm-hmm.
You're still calling him Mr. Isaac.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, bye.
Signing off.